There is a place in Europe where lush, virgin forests stretch to the horizon, where lonely mountain ridges reach high into the clouds, and where Europe's prime concentration of large carnivores roam free. These are the Carpathians of Romania, one of Europe's greatest ecological treasures.
It's just a place that we have lost everywhere else, and here we still have it.
The Carpathian Mountains are incredibly biodiverse. They're a biodiversity hotspot.
King of this domain is Carpathia's apex predator.
The fact that we still have wild bears, it's a very important indicator that we still have healthy ecosystems.
But expanding human development is putting these ecosystems at risk, fragmenting habitats and even modifying bear behavior.
We have a bear issue in Romania.
A dedicated group of conservationists are working tirelessly to restore the natural balance.
I'm here to plant trees. Plant a lot of trees, I hope.
By encouraging communities to preserve sustainable ways of life, we can safeguard the ecosystems so essential for our own well-being.
People and nature can work together and coexist harmoniously.
Just thinking that these incredible forests could disappear is enough motivation to get up and fight.
The Carpathian Mountains of Romania are one of Europe's greatest natural wonders and a sanctuary for some of its most diverse wildlife.
You don't have roads, you don't have houses, so it's not densely built up. This is why you have all this amazing wildlife.
It's unique because of the number of forest habitats, alpine pasture habitats, the number of wild species, like, of course, large carnivores.
Presiding over this vast mountain stronghold is Europe's largest terrestrial carnivore, Ursus arctos, the brown bear, found throughout the 1,500-kilometre Carpathian Range. This extensive mountain chain spans 8 different European countries. However, half its surface area lies in Romania. One of Carpathia's most biodiverse regions is the Făgăraș Mountains in its southern range.
I think the Făgăraș Mountains are probably the last real wilderness that we have in Central Europe. Because they're huge, they have lots of virgin forests still. They have probably more bears and wolves and lynx than any other place in Europe.
Most of the original species are still here, and that's very, very rare in Europe.
Here, a groundbreaking study of the brown bear population is underway. Today, Conservation Carpathia Ranger Madeline is out gathering field data.
Here we have some bear tracks. As you can see, it's not a big one, it's a little one. Very, very nice ones. And they are quite fresh. I think they are from maybe maximum yesterday, but not more. So every time when I'm in the field, I take with me the spray against bears, just in case. Just to be, or maybe you can find some stray dogs from shepherds, you know, and it's very good to have a protection with you.
Romania's bears are a surprisingly understudied species, and their population is heavily debated, with estimates ranging anywhere from 3,000 to over 8,000 individuals. It's said that the greatest density of Romanian bears is found here in the Făgăraș Mountains. And when in bear territory, it pays not to arrive unannounced.
Up. I just want to be sure that we're not going to meet a bear, so I'm making a bit of noise, you know? It's like a percussion method. And I'm not going to surprise them, to scare them. This is a wolf track. Nice, nice one. So this is the main pad of the wolf. And also the toes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you can see the claws of the wolf here and here, and that's the main character of the wolf. So you can distinguish by comparison with the dog, you know.
This landscape has changed little over the centuries and is a rare example of a natural environment with the original pyramid of species intact, with apex predators still dominating. This makes it truly special at a European level.
It's a very large area. I think it's the largest contiguous forest in Central Europe. Plus, we also have here still all the large carnivores, so they are roaming everywhere here.
This is an amazing spot. It's a pleasure for me to come here every time. Not many people, they have the chance to have this kind of job. This is our office for me and for my colleagues.
But as with any office, there's work to be done. And for Madeleine, this means checking the camera trap he set here 2 weeks ago.
So, you know what's the reason why we choose this place? The reason we chose this is this place has many animal trails, and here is like an intersection. So that's the reason why. And also it's water here, so they are coming to drink water, you know?
And sure enough, the camera trap has been triggered.
Hey, what's this? Look. This was yesterday. It's a red deer female with her puppy. See? See what nice is it?
Camera traps, or trail cams, are an essential piece of kit in the ranger's toolbox. Triggered by motion sensors, they enable unique shots of wildlife, undisturbed in its natural environment.
If we are talking mainly about studying the large carnivore, they are of course shy animals. They are sometimes traveling only during the night. And without use of the camera traps, of course, you cannot find too many things about those great animals. And especially when we are talking about lynx, the use of cameras in order to find out data about population movements, what they are doing, where they are going, it's very important.
Oh, like this is great, look. A bear also was here. It's a big one, like 300 kilograms, maybe. We are studying bears because we want to learn more about their behavior. We want to see how they move from place to place. It's important to know the numbers of the bears because nobody knows exactly how many they are. With our study, we can make an estimation of the population.
The question of population lies at the heart of a fierce national debate about Romania's bears. Although a protected species, some say the Romanian bear population is spiralling out of control. However, bears are a vital component of their natural environment and are classed as a keystone species. That is, a species which plays a high-level role in stabilising its own ecosystem. Without keystone species, ecosystems collapse.
Perhaps not having enough predators allows the deer population to increase, which means that the forests don't generate as well.
The bears are on the top of the pyramid in the forest, and we need bears in natural areas in order to keep this balance between the forest, the herbivores, the predators. And lucky for us, the fact that we still have wild bears, it's a very important indicator of the fact that we still have healthy ecosystems.
Romania possesses the majority of Europe's primary virgin forests, pristine and untouched by man.
These forests, they certainly have never seen a chainsaw. They have not been modified when it comes to their species composition and the age composition. They are now also a reference for us to see where we want to go.
As well as providing habitat for countless species, forests bestow humankind with essential ecosystem services, such as carbon dioxide sequestration, regulation of clean water supply, flood prevention, and land cooling effects. As trees age, their CO2 absorption accelerates, meaning the older trees in virgin forests act as tremendous carbon sinks.
The forest means much more than the wood and the timber, because the functions and the services that they produce are of an incredible importance for the humanity.
In the high Făgăraș, Madeleine is quick to guess the culprit at a damaged red deer feeding point.
I think it was a bear, for sure. Maybe we'll find the hair. A piece of hair, maybe, huh? Ah, look here. Look. That's the proof. Who's the the guilty. It's a bear hair here. But also it's a good thing because I can take a DNA sample from here because we have hair. Look, so this is the follicle, so they will extract the DNA from here at the laboratory.
Traditional bear surveys rely on first-hand sightings, with the same bear often being counted multiple times, leading to overestimations of their numbers. By collecting DNA data, movements of individual bears can be tracked, leading to a much more accurate population picture.
Everybody is believing that this bear population did explode. This kind of very detailed study will help to understand that, yes, of course, there is a normal development of the bear population, but we are talking more about changing of the behavior of the bears.
One of the richest ecosystems in the Carpathians is here, in Piatra Craiului National Park. Translated as the Rock of the Prince, lush green valleys are overshadowed by towering 2,000-metre cliffs. The park is a haven for its fauna and particularly its flora. An incredible 1/3 of all Romania's plant species can be found here, many of which are endemic to the park. However, not all vegetation is welcome here. In a river valley running alongside the national park, conservation Carpathia biologist Liviu is training a group of rangers to identify and remove alien invasive plant species.
Our rangers, they learn which are the alien invasive species. We identify 2 species in this area which must be removed. They will do this activity on daily basis during their daily activities. When they will see these plants, they will remove. This will be a very long-lasting activity. We hope the results will be visible soon. So.
Assisting Liviu is British student George with visiting girlfriend Laura.
I'm particularly interested in rewilding and restoration projects, and I found this project with Foundation Conservation Carpathia here in Romania. It's quite an incredible landscape with these pristine ecosystems and wildernesses. I think in terms of vegetation, you've got maybe, 1,200 species here just in Piatra Craiului National Park. And for me, when I'm studying vegetation, that's really fascinating. So this was the perfect place to come for me. So this is the annual fleabane here, and it's an invasive species, I think from North America. It's a problem with most invasive species is that they're usually imported maybe for gardens or botanical purposes. People like the look of them. And once they escape from gardens, it's a problem if they can outcompete the native species. And they can become really abundant in the habitat, change the composition of the insects, and then that can lead on to, affecting the fauna. So it's a big problem.
The rangers are pushing ahead, but in their haste, seem to have overlooked some areas.
George, look, here are plenty. So here was full of them because it's drier. You can see, look, this. All of them. I'm a little bit upset on my colleagues because they hurried and they were looking for flowers for the plants in bloom already. They don't have experience yet because it's their first session of removal of this kind of species, and they are not able to recognize yet the seedlings. But I will stay here to remove this, to clean this small hill. If you are not a biologist, you cannot do this properly. And this is the second alien invasive species, Coniza canadensis also. It's not in bloom yet.
Do you know the names of all the plants?
No. Don't know. Just 5,000 of them. But I don't remember the names of my colleagues. It's easier for me to remember thousands of names of plants instead of name of 20 people. These are seedlings of erigeron. Yes, all of these. We should remove them. I'm the only person responsible for this, the vegetation and habitat survey from the botanical point of view, and it was quite very helpful to have another person to assist me. We are normal people trying to restore the nature as much as we can.
A steady flow of summer traffic snakes its way along the only paved road through the Făgăraș Mountains. But this isn't any road. This is the legendary Trans-Făgărașan Highway, perhaps the most iconic and enduring legacy of deposed communist dictator Nicolae Ceausescu. As well as breathtaking views of Romania's highest peaks, there is now another popular tourist attraction: brown bears begging for scraps of food from passing motorists.
Of course, it's not the bear's fault. The bear is a wild animal. He is trying to survive. And sometimes the fact that the behavior was changed is because of us, because of the food that was given to the bear.
Bears are very opportunistic, so if they find the food, it doesn't matter, they will eat, you know?
Some bears will wait day and night for their meals to be delivered. If the traffic dies down, they can just kick back and relax. Bears can also be more proactive in seeking out their supper, especially when there are small mouths to feed. Termed as habituated, these bears have quickly adapted to humans and our wasteful ways. There seems no limit to their ingenuity. And being the ultimate omnivores, bears will hoover up just about anything. Although the cuddly charisma of bears is irresistible for many, it's worth remembering that these are powerful alpha predators, which occasionally have an uncontrollable yearning for fresh meat. Here in the village of Sătic, in a secluded valley in the southern Carpathians, the locals know all too well what can happen when a bear gets a taste for blood.
Noaptea, la ora 2, cam așa, 2-3, eu l-am văzut pe după casă, ursul, mare. Și a venit ursul, un scandal, câinii lătrau, câinile ăsta a zburat peste gard când a văzut ursul. Că câinile ăsta cât de mare, îl vedeți, l-a luat, a sărit peste gard, nici nu știu cum a zburat peste gard. Și a intrat ursul, a luat un porc, unul l-a luat sub braț, atât de mare era că a luat un porc de 100 de kilograme sub braț și a sărit gardul peste apă spre pădure. Nu l-a mai văzut nimeni.
You know, here in the Carpathian Mountains, local communities are built usually at the edge of the forest, and so automatically bears are coming out of the forest and they meet people and livestock. And since bears are a large carnivore, you know, there is conflicts, we know that.
Ei se plimbă pe după casă, se plimbă pe după apă. Mi-e frică să mă duc până în graj, nu pot ieși. Noi nu putem ieși afară noaptea. Să-i ia, domnule, să-i ducă sau să-i împuște, facă ceva cu ei.
It's not an easy situation. There is a troublesome coexistence. You know, people have been living here with bears for hundreds of years, so it's not something that, you know, needs to be totally reinvented. The important thing is to really work on the conflicts and solve the conflicts.
In response to the growing number of interactions between large carnivores and the local communities, Conservation Carpathia has created 2 dedicated large carnivore intervention teams. Heading up one of these units is Chief Ranger Bogdan. He's cutting short a hill patrol and is on his way down to Sătic, where another bear incident has been reported.
The last 2 weeks was almost every day in the village. We are trying to scare the bear and push it in the forest, but with this young bear it's more difficult because we try a lot of things and it doesn't work. Try with dogs, with pepper spray. If we compare with, I don't know, 20 years ago, then we will say it's unnormal. But now we have this kind of situation quite often.
Talking about intervention teams, it's a difficult task. There are some tough guys there, and sometimes they have to take tough decisions. They have to be very careful because in several cases also their own life was in danger.
Just pepper spray to have it with us. We just want to see if it's here. Apomicom.
Straight away, Bogdan gets a tip-off from a local man. A bear has recently been spotted in the area. Bogdan and colleague Marius go to investigate.
Yeah, last night it was down here on a guest house looking for garbage.
They soon find additional evidence that the bear has been here.
Yeah. So I have this cat here. So for sure it was here. Yeah, let's go up. Let's see.
As they make their way up the hillside towards the forest, they discover another bear scat.
And this is really fresh, just grass inside.
The rangers have set up a feeding area at the edge of the forest to try and keep the bear away from the village. As they carefully approach the site, they notice that the bait they laid for the bear has been disturbed.
Now we have the evidence. It was here. It start to eat our bait, and from now on we will try to feed the bear deeper and deeper in the forest, far away from the village. We will try with this, and we'll see.
They have set up a camera trap next to the feeding area to try and get a positive ID on the bear.
I want just to change a bit the position. Yeah.
Just minutes after arriving back down to the village, Bogdan picks up an alert on his phone from the camera trap. It has already been triggered.
I just received it from the camera up here in the forest, so probably the bear, it's up there. Just a bit of it here, and this one.
Later, more images come through. A telltale white marking on its neck confirms that this is the same young male that has been entering the village at night and raiding garbage. Only time will tell if Bogdan's strategy of luring the bear away from the village will be successful. Carnivores that venture down to urban areas might be considered intruders. However, up in the wind-swept highlands, this is truly their domain. Perhaps no one in Carpathia lives closer to these wild beasts than shepherds, a solitary, nomadic life guiding their flocks through the ageless contours of this primordial landscape. The ancient practice of moving livestock across different grazing areas over the course of the year is known as transhumance. Here in the Carpathians, it has been going on for centuries. Weeks at a time can be spent out in the wilderness with their animals. This puts the shepherds and their livestock squarely in large carnivore territory. And hungry predators are always on the lookout for an easy meal.
Animalele sălbatice, că coboară de la munte, lupii, urșii, astea ne dă de cap.
Da, bineînțeles că s-a auzit întotdeauna. A fost problemă cu animalele sălbatice. Ultima pagubă de urs, dar nu mai e răit, deci n-a apucat să o moare pentru că am recuperat-o. Dacă lăsam să o ia, să învăța. Bineînțeles că n-a mai trăit.
The first and last line of defense against large carnivore attacks are the shepherd's four-legged friends.
A simțit ceva, un animal sălbatic sau un intrus în zona noastră. Fără ei n-am putea să ne apărăm contra răpitorilor. Urs, lup, orice intrus în zona noastră de activitate este detectat de câini care ne anunță și pe noi să luăm măsuri.
Înainte de a avea câini, am avut În fiecare an dispărea câte 2 capre, un miel, o oaie. Așa, dar de 4 ani de când am câinii ăștia, nu a mai dispărut nimic.
Although every shepherd can tell a grisly tale of a large carnivore attack, many show a sympathetic side to their predatory neighbours.
Dacă noi mergem peste animale în munte și dacă s-au făcut defrișări în masă, automat animalele vin spre zona populată de oameni. Nemai având în munți ce mânca și unde se ascunde, ei trebuie să hrănească, trebuie să-și găsească un mod de a supraviețui.
Under the 24-year rule of Nicolae Ceausescu, the Romanian forests were strictly protected. Reserved only for Ceausescu's infamous hunting excursions, very little extractive forestry took place, and these wooded slopes remained a natural paradise. Following on from communism, the Romanian state restituted thousands of square kilometres of forest back to their original owners. Amid widespread corruption, with many forests falling into the wrong hands, a period of rampant and indiscriminate deforestation took place. An estimated 1/4 of Romania's forests have been lost to deforestation in recent years, a shocking 4 hectares an hour logged out to feed this voracious €10 billion a year business. And in cruel irony, it's the older, more ecologically important trees that have the lowest commercial value.
It's used as firewood for low prices, and this is crazy. It's more and more important to preserve that forest instead of using just this scientific importance old growth forest just for firewood. It's stupid. Yeah.
Even the relatively well-preserved Făgăraș have not been immune from the ravages of indiscriminate logging. This stark example, known locally as Grappele, was once a vast spruce forest.
We have here a clear-cut area of about 300 hectares that were illegally cut 10 to 12 years ago. And it's terrible. Every tree, every spruce that did exist here was just clear-cut. I feel sad for the nature and for the fact that the people allowed this to happen. Maybe it's a lesson learned for landowners, also for authorities who did not stop the clear cut at that time. And we hope that these kind of events will never happen again in the Romanian Carpathians, but we never know.
As the forest was at the alpine tree line, natural regeneration here is extremely difficult.
When the forest went up, maybe thousands of years ago, the forest conquered the mountain step by step. But if the old area was clear-cut from up to down, the nature is not regenerating very easy.
But here at Grappele, Mother Nature is being given a helping hand. Mihai is overseeing the complete restoration of this vast space, replanting it with hundreds of thousands of saplings. Conservation Carpathia has its own nurseries, growing 9 different species of native tree. Tasked with supplying tens of thousands of saplings for this autumn's planting campaign is forester Flavius.
This is ash, beautiful ash, 1 year old.
In a short, weather-critical window of time, a mass planting operation will take place at Grappele. The goal? To get as many saplings in the ground before the icy winter weather closes in.
To plant at such a high altitude it's difficult because of the logistic and also because of the climate. It's very cold. There are late frosts, strong winds, a lot of snow. It's terrible. But this is the cross that we are wearing, so we have to succeed in the end with this reconstruction.
The destruction of habitat in the mountains, the total clear cutting has caused a lot of disturbance in the forests. So the bears have lost a part of their natural habitat. And then it's obvious, that they go and search somewhere else for better conditions and get into troubles with people.
Here at the Zabola estate in the Eastern Carpathians, they fought hard to get their properties back after communism. They eventually managed to reclaim their 16th century ancestral home, now a boutique hotel. Also, the estate forests, much of them pristine. But it is what they did with their reclaimed forests that really set Zabola apart.
I think we were probably one of the first, or not the first, private owner who said this is a virgin forest, which means actually as a private owner it's almost like an expropriation because you cannot really give it in any other use anymore. I mean, from a tree felling and tree cutting point of view. What we see is that our areas become a hub for wildlife. I think this is an unusual story, at least in Romania this is an unusual story.
Watching over Zabola's precious forests is head ranger Levente. Levente patrols the Zabola forests on a daily basis and knows this territory and its wildlife like the back of his hand.
I see the footprints, the road deer. This is the female. She's going back in the forest. And I think I see here the male, the stag. This is the bear footprint and the young bear, 3-4-year-old. This one is a bear footprint. The bear is walking down. And this one is a badger, the smaller one. Just one place you see a lot of species because the habitat is comfortable for them and there's a lot of food in the forest and you can find these species here.
In order to safeguard these forests and their wildlife, Zabola has adopted an ingenious way of protecting them.
To keep it safe, you need some kind of ear-dropping system that continuously tracks sounds. We started a joint venture with Rainforest Connection, who came with the fantastic solution of guarding the forests with mobile phone-based devices.
There is the device.
A microphone in the device can monitor a 1-kilometre radius of forest and isolate the sound signature of any potential threats, such as gunshots or, in this case, a chainsaw. Any suspicious sounds are sent to an app on the ranger's mobile device, where the sound file can be played back and a decision made on whether to investigate further. Zabola have installed 6 of these devices, enabling approximately 600 hectares of forest to be permanently monitored.
We actually caught some illegal loggers in our forest, but this was quite a while ago. It works as a deterrent, so nobody will venture to come in these areas. In Europe, where large forest plots still exist, it is very useful.
It's 30 meters high. You have to be careful when you're climbing up here. This is the device. I'm climbing up because it's not charging good. And it's 2 more solar panels. And this is the antenna to get a good signal. I think I have to cut some branch because it's not getting sun and not charging very good.
It's actually a very joyful feeling that you could do something for the preservation of wildlife and of the forests.
This is Equus Sylvania, a horse riding centre in the southern Carpathians. Its animal-mad owners Barbara and Christoph Promberger moved to Romania to study the Eurasian wolf. They went on to create the largest conservation organisation in Romania, Foundation Conservation Carpathia, which now safeguards almost 30,000 hectares of forest.
Thanks for
sharing your mud with us.
Thanks for sharing your saliva with
It all started as a pure land acquisition project, but then we soon realized that just owning the land is not gonna get us anywhere. So once you own land, you have to start thinking how you're gonna protect it in perpetuity. We also purchased some of the clear cuts, and obviously we wanted to restore these areas.
Many people in the local communities, of course, they question themselves, why are these guys buying, thousands and thousands of hectares of forests? And they couldn't believe that we were just having a conservation interest. It was all rumors about gold mining and bear parks for shooting bears and ski resorts, and I don't know what else we heard. You just can't believe all the stories. But I think we're getting there, that people understand that what we're doing is actually good for them.
I think the Fogarás Mountains are really standing out. They are one of the very few places in Europe that could be really turned into a very iconic protected area, iconic national park for Europe.
The Prombergers' ambition to create a vast national wilderness reserve is being hailed the Yellowstone of Europe, where just like its American counterpart, bear, wolf, and lynx will roam its mountain slopes. Yellowstone boasts another famed mammal, the bison. Eradicated from Europe centuries ago, Conservation Carpathia have created a program to reintroduce the European subspecies.
So the bison is maybe more than in other parts of Europe. It's an emblematic species. And of course, it's a species which did exist in Romania and in Fogarás Mountain, of course. I think in Romania the last bison was hunted in 1760 or something.
The foundation has set up its own dedicated bison rewilding team. Today, a group of rangers, headed up by Adrian at the wheel, are taking the scenic route to a remote bison enclosure in the Fogarás Mountains. The plan is to track and monitor the herd, which is soon to be released into the wild. But today the rangers have some extra company. The return of the bison after a 200-year absence is causing quite a media stir.
We are here in the second reintroduction area of the bison in Lerești. We come here with a German team who film what we have done here, and it's good for us to share our experience and our work here with reintroduction of the bison and to complete the ecosystems of Fogarás Mountains.
These bison have been brought to Lerești from specialist farms all across Europe and are kept in a holding pen for up to 6 months to help them acclimatise. One of the bison is wearing a tracking collar, essential to pinpoint the herd's location in the 100-hectare enclosure. The group head deeper into the enclosure and finally track down the herd. But the bison sensed them coming. Cameraman Florian must move quickly to grab his shot and catches a fleeting glimpse of the final member of the herd as it melts into the thick undergrowth. In order to help monitor the bison without undue disturbance, a camera trap has been positioned at a favoured watering hole. Just minutes earlier, the entire herd was here, including a new arrival.
Here we can see the cub.
So it was born in here, in the enclosure?
Yes.
Wow, what an animal.
A little one.
You like them? Those are special animals, are they?
Yes.
Bison are a very, very important species for the ecosystem. The bison are basically the largest ungulate that we have here in Europe. They're browsers, they're grazers, so they have a strong impact upon the whole forest ecosystem. And without them, the forest just looks different.
As with the brown bear, bison are another keystone species, instrumental to the success of their native ecosystems.
So they're walking through the forest with their heavy weight and the hoofs. They're disturbing the ground. They're disturbing things that are relatively even. So they create little spaces for other species to live. Bison were here for millennia, so it's important to bring them back so that we can go back to a natural ecosystem.
This is Kobor, a well-preserved Transylvanian village located in the undulating foothills of the southern Carpathians. Here in its traditional streets is the Kobor Biodiversity Farm, a project led by Foundation Conservation Carpathia to support ecotourism and sustainable agriculture in the region. Kobor has also introduced a breeding programme for a traditional type of Romanian sheepdog, the much-loved Carpathian Shepherd. Yoshka is the farm's hospitality coordinator, and whenever he can, visits the Kobor kennels. He has a real soft spot for the dogs. Today he has come to check up on some of Kobor's latest arrivals.
Griva, stay inside, please. Hello.
Griva, a 3-year-old Carpathian Shepherd dog, has recently given birth to a litter of 9 puppies, which are now only 2 months old.
They're really, really curious about everything that's moving and about everything new. And naturally, they're friendly to people. They like people who care about them and petting them and, you know. With the shepherds, they are like a family. So they coexist. They are one team and they know that. And they spend every hour of every day outside in the field taking care of the cattle. If we have wild animals, if we have deer or bear, they know everything. Actually, we had a bear visit last year, and it was quite interesting because they didn't attack the bear. So they came from 3 sides, and basically they lured the bear outside of their area. So that's a teamwork, and I think they're really, really smart. They know their territory, and they will protect it definitely, whatever it takes. Come here, Riva.
But these little puppies will need to pile on a few pounds before any bear will even begin to take them seriously. They might only weigh 2 kilograms now, but as adults they can reach a weight of up to 45 kilos.
They have quite an appetite. No, they're getting bigger and bigger and they eat more and more.
Another organisation working closely with shepherds is Fauna and Flora, the world's oldest conservation NGO. They too have a programme whereby pure-breed Carpathian livestock guarding dogs are donated to carefully selected shepherds who have been suffering losses from large carnivores. Today they are on a routine follow-up to check progress.
So as a conservation point of view, the main idea of these activities and this project was to facilitate coexistence between human and large carnivores, and in a way maybe change mentality of the shepherds so there wouldn't be so much retaliation killing. So for example, in the past, because of too many damages, you would have people set out snares or nooses in the forest where not just large carnivores would get stuck, other animals like roe deer would get snared or even killed by these traps. And we chose the Carpathian Shepherd dog just because it is a national breed and we're trying to promote that. And it's because it's a very adapted breed for the Carpathians. They're really athletic, they can withstand long distances running, and also they're really weather adapted. They've been using the Romanian Carpathian Shepherd dog for over 100 years.
Assisting Fauna and Flora with their livestock guarding dog programme is British PhD student Beth.
That's a weird scar. What we're doing is we're trying to get an evidence base for the conservation interventions that the guys have been using out here. So primarily the livestock guarding dogs. We're pretty confident that they reduce livestock predation, but we don't know what other effects they have. So the whole idea of my project is just to get that evidence base on what ecological effects the dogs have, the things that we might not necessarily think of when we put out these implementations. That filmed me destroying the tree. So I'm pretty sure this is a dog scat, just based on the way that it looks. So it's absolutely full of fur. So I'm just assuming it's a dog that's been grooming itself. So it's a lot of white fur, so it's clearly not any kind of wildlife hair. So it's probably either sheep fur or dog fur. There's a bit of corn in here as well, so the shepherds feed the dogs corn. So that's a pretty nice confirmation that actually this is dog scat. So I'm going to pick that up.
By analysing the scats in the laboratory, it will be possible to establish what the dogs have been feeding on.
Oh, it's gross. Delightful.
This will confirm whether the dogs have been predating any of the local wildlife. In order to record the movements of the dogs, tracking devices are fitted.
So I'm attaching a GPS collar now, so you can see it under here. They'll be on for about 2 to 3 weeks. The data comes through roughly every 5 minutes.
And it's not just the dogs that are being fitted with GPS collars.
We sometimes ask the shepherds to pick a dominant sheep so that we are pretty confident that the sheep will be representative of where the flock is. And that gives us a really nice idea of basically where the dogs are exactly in relation to where the sheep are. Yep, so I'm just going to put it on nice and gently and just check that there's enough room. Try not to trap any of the wool in there. Just make sure the animal's happy, keep them nice and calm, and that's that.
On the very field the sheep are grazing, the team make an interesting discovery.
So we know that there are large carnivores in the area, and there is evidence to prove this. You can see here there's a really nice bear scat, really fresh one. And you can see that here in this bear scat that it's mainly eaten fruits and apples. There are apple parts, apple seeds, so that's basically what he's been eating, and no sheep parts. So there is coexistence there because they're here, they're in the area where bears are, and they live with it because they know they can be protected with by using these livestock guarding dogs.
To gain further evidence of the dog's behaviour, minicams are also being attached to selected dogs. In this case, a mixed breed alpha male.
So it's going to go on the front on a harness like this on the chest plate. And that gives us some really nice dog's eye view footage of what the dogs are seeing, if they're chasing wildlife, what they're eating, what the other dogs are doing, where the sheep are. So that gives us a really nice view that we don't really get otherwise. So the whole idea behind this project and research is refinement. We definitely agreed that the dogs are very useful, particularly in this transhuman landscape that we have out here. The best thing that they have is these dogs. So what we're trying to do is say, actually, if we do discover any unintended effects that the dogs are having, how can we mitigate those effects? Is it training? Is it the type of breed of dogs that are being used? So for example, Fauna and Flora are encouraging the use of these pure breed Carpathian shepherd dogs rather than the mixed breed guarding dogs that a lot of the shepherds currently use. So it's all about refinement rather than saying you shouldn't be using these techniques. I really enjoy it out here, and it's really nice for me to see the transhumans landscape. It's easy from an office at home to be writing about this stuff, but you really need to be on the ground witnessing how this works and having a bit of compassion with the shepherds as well. I think that's really important, understanding what it's like out here, that the dogs really are important and they do a really good job out here.
Ei mă ajută foarte mult. Tot timpul ei lucrează împreună. Bineînțeles cu mine, cu tot, că fără mine fac, da, și după aia, da, ei își fac treaba lor și eu fac treaba mea.
Să știți că am avut tot felul de câini, dar că ăștia n-am întâlnit încă așa buni. Deci sunt câini adevărați. Câini adevărați.
It's late at night in the village of Satik. Here, Bogdan and the Conservation Carpathia Large Carnivore Intervention Team are out on a routine patrol. Bears are now coming down to the village on a regular basis, and extra vigilance is required. Something catches the team's eye and they stop to investigate. A late-night visitor is enjoying a midnight feast on a guest house's garbage. It's summer season, and the guest houses are filled with tourists, completely unaware of the large predator outside. The bear is unfazed by the team's presence and skillfully manoeuvres a heavy plastic wheelie bin to explore its contents. Such habituated bears are quick learners. As the team consider their next move, the bear becomes spooked and dashes towards the river. For their own safety, the team need to keep a visual on the bear. They spot the bear on the far side of the river and get a clear view of it with the flashlight. It's the same young male that has been repeatedly visiting Sertique during the night.
It's the same one. It's quite young and small, and you can see that white patch on the right side of the neck.
We have problems with these bears. It's very hard for the ranger because they are facing the bears in the night. So if the bear will turn around and attack, then we have a problem. So it's not an easy task. And of course they are doing all this stuff essentially not for themselves, not for us, but for helping the community.
Seara a ieșit de aici după o oricioară, la 12 noaptea. Am avut niște musafiri vecini. Am luat-o pe drumul încoace, s-a întâlnit cu ei, mai să dea să iei. Și dacă a văzut, au dat ăștia niște pietre și a trecut prin gână în partea era.
We have to be here because the locals are coming out and ask us for help, so they feel a bit better if they know we are here, but in the same time they know we have just a very limited actions, like we just can try to scare it. This doesn't work, so probably we'll come back tomorrow also.
But this particular bear doesn't want to wait until tomorrow. It is hungry, and there are still plenty of unopened garbage bins. For the safety of the local residents, the team have to make a snap decision. Armed with bear spray, they rush at the bear in an attempt to scare it out of the village. This bold move pays off, and the bear flees towards the forest. But Bogdan knows this persistent young bear is almost guaranteed to return.
In the next few days, for sure, something will be different. For the moment, it's in the garbage, but the next step will be to take some animals. We'll have a bad situation. Who knows?
In a fast-changing world, the bears of Romania have become masters of adaptability. But this success has brought them head-to-head with their human neighbours.
We live in villages where you have accidents. It is a problem. People die, people get hurt, people lose livestock.
Despite their size and strength, bears are a naturally timid species and prefer to avoid people. As forest dwellers, they spend much of their time foraging for a variety of food sources, such as berries and nuts, grasses and other vegetation, and invertebrates hidden on the forest floor. But as humans encroach further into their territory, so bears have adapted their behaviour accordingly.
There is a complex of factors that are generating this issue with bears coming to localities. There are a lot of attraction for bears in some local communities. We are talking about not having proper system of collecting garbage.
Refuse areas are a honeypot for hungry bears, which have now become a common sight in many towns and villages.
One of the main reasons for the changing of the behavior of the bears is for sure also the climate change phenomenon. Because we saw already many winters that at least some of the male bears, they are not hibernating anymore in the winter. And this is because it's not cold enough for a long period of time. So if they are not hibernating anymore, of course they need more food.
Much of the Carpathian landscape has remained unchanged for generations. Communities here have learnt to live hand in hand with nature, their influence gently shaping the natural world around them.
When we talk about biodiversity, it's important not to remove the cultural elements from that, so the human elements from that actually, because the biodiversity that we see in the Carpathians is a result of human activity. And without those specific farming and agricultural practices, then we wouldn't see the biodiversity in the Carpathians at the moment.
However, Romania is modernising at a dramatic rate. As the country develops, so traditional ways of life are being pushed aside. Throughout the Carpathians, we see an older, simpler way of life, struggling to cling on against a backdrop of never-ending economic development.
One of the biggest threats we face is the need and requirement for economic growth. We've seen incredible losses in biodiversity, from invertebrates to even the larger, more visible animals and more charismatic species. We are entirely reliant as a species on the environment around us. We cannot lose the biodiversity that underpins our well-being.
This permanent development of humanity and the development of the local communities, it's somehow considered as the most important point. Every year we have to have development. Every year we have to have a development rate. If the development rate is not good enough, then it's a problem. So in this system, of course, the fragmentation of the habitats will take place more and more.
One of the biggest causes of habitat fragmentation is expanding transport infrastructure. Construction of rail, and especially road networks, threaten to cleave ecosystems apart, trapping species in isolated pockets of habitat. As landscapes become increasingly fragmented, so it becomes all the more important to preserve the remaining ecological corridors that connect them.
Ecological connectivity is fundamental to all aspects of biodiversity, either at the micro scale of the smallest invertebrate or at the macro scale with the largest vertebrates, bears, wolves and lynx. These animals, they have to be able to move through the landscape to obtain food, to find mates. And all of these species underpin our biodiversity, and without them, our systems are much poorer.
This narrow, forested strip in the Western Carpathians is the critical part of a vital biocorridor. It is included in the EU's Natura 2000 scheme, which safeguards areas of exceptional natural value. This is a key area of work for Zarand Association, a conservation NGO headed up by Radu Moț.
We are in the forested area of the corridor. As you can see, we have a mixed broadleaf forest here. Important for all forest-related species, including large carnivores, which will use this type of habitat as perfect area to move safely. Even if here we are speaking about a very narrow stripe of forest, maybe 2 kilometers wide. This is vital for connecting larger areas like Southern Carpathians and Apusen Mountains from the north.
For a period of over 10 years, Zarand Association has been carefully monitoring the corridor to build a picture of both the resident and transient species which use it, particularly large carnivores with their need for wider ranges and territories.
It could be an old wolf's cat, because I can see some wild boar hair inside.
Traditional tracking and bushcraft techniques, along with camera trap footage and detection by locals, have resulted in a detailed database of the corridor's biodiversity. This includes a map plotting all large carnivore sightings.
We found all the species we expected. The red dots are the bear sightings, the yellow ones are the lynx, and the purple one, the wolf.
But this vitally important corridor has been facing an existential threat. This is the location for the last remaining section of a vast motorway construction project, which already carves a 350-kilometre route through the landscapes to the east and west. Only a narrow 9-kilometre stretch of road is yet to be completed.
Here the corridor will be intersected by the motorway. Even a small barrier could impact the whole corridor.
After years of tireless negotiations, Radu and his team have won a victory for the corridor. Measures are already being put in place to ensure the new stretch of motorway doesn't create an impenetrable barrier for nature.
Here, luckily, one of the best solutions in place is a long tunnel, the so-called landscape bridge, which will allow not only the animals to pass through, but you will maintain the whole habitat ecosystem intact as it is. Apart from that, we also have specific solution for the animals to cross under the motorway, so underpasses or viaducts, but also over the motorway. 2 so-called green bridges, which will allow the safe passage, and in a lesser degree also it will connect the habitats for smaller species. The corridor is very important for bears, but also the whole pyramid of species.
The work of Zarand Association goes well beyond the motorway construction area and deep into the surrounding landscapes. Supporting the association in its project area for over 10 years is fauna and flora.
What we're trying to do here is work with the local communities and develop a sustainable model for conservation that's related to human well-being. This landscape has been created through an evolution of human activity, through low-intensity agricultural practices, and it's only with people in the landscape that you will actually get that high level of biodiversity.
The focus of much of the work taking place in Zarand is to encourage non-intensive, non-extractive activities and promote the sustainable agricultural practices that have existed here for generations.
If we are keeping the traditions alive and we are keeping the cultural heritage alive, we will have a good connection between humans and nature. These two branches, people and nature, can work together and can coexist harmoniously.
The initiative brings increased value to small-scale, artisanal food production, helping preserve traditional livelihoods that have been passed down through the generations.
Aș vrea să ducem mai departe tradiția și să învețe și ăștia tineri să facă, să vadă și să mâncă bun și gustos. Aerul curat aici, în geam de la noi și să mânce. Și iată, de tece, Doamne, să-i mulțumim.
Oamenii din zonă au știut să trăiască frumos și au știut să creeze niște lucruri frumoase, chiar și produsele acestea naturale. Zona este foarte curată, nu se pun pesticide, nu se pun alte chimici care să afecteze, produsele sunt naturale.
Income from high-quality organic produce helps sustain ecological practices and can even breathe new life into rural communities. Crucially, in this living landscape of the wider corridor, through which large carnivores are constantly moving, coexistence between humans and these wild animals is paramount.
The Zarand landscape sits in the middle of one of Europe's last remaining corridors for large carnivores. It's fundamental that we continue to work together in partnership with local communities to facilitate them to live alongside these wildlife. The corridor is fundamental to the long-term persistence of the populations of bears and wolves in Romania.
One system being implemented throughout the Carpathians is the installation of localized bear-proof electric fences.
Înainte, până nu au fost gardurile astea electrice, lumea stătea la holda lui și noaptea își păzea holda. Acum e mult mai ușor cu gardurile electrice primite, pentru că, uite, și eu am împrejmuirea asta, îs liniștit.
Am făcut gard electric, am făcut cotețul mai trainic, mai sănătos, ca să nu mai vină ursul să intre. Acum știu eu, a doua oară cum o veni, ne-o lua și pe noi ursul.
To support animal owners who suffer losses to large carnivores, Conservation Carpathia has set up a compensation scheme to directly replace the lost animal straight away. As well as his own animals, Shepherd Constantine looks after 100 sheep and 20 cows for Conservation Carpathia, all ready to be donated.
Dă un ajutor sau o mână de ajutor pentru a nu fi pierderea atât de mare, de fapt ameliorată de faptul că îi se dă un animal în loc.
Our idea was that the farmer who is losing the cows, actually he needs the milk next day.
So the shepherds actually don't lose their income that they have through the cheese and the products all summer.
Of course, there are also some debates and discussions because there are farmers that saying that, oh, my cow was a special race or it was much bigger and he weighed 1 ton and your cow is smaller, and sometimes they said it's older than mine, and so it's not easy to deal with people, even if you donate something.
It's a rainy morning in Kobor. Yoshka is up early and making a trip out to the farm kennels.
Pretty normal. Here they have the priority.
This is a journey Yoshka has made many times before, but today is different. The puppies that Yoshka has grown to know and love are leaving Kobor for good.
They will start their professional life, let's say it like that, because they will start to work now.
At the kennels, Yoshka is joined by the Conservation Carpathia Rangers, who will be transporting the puppies to their new homes. And as always, the dogs are waiting to give the men a warm welcome.
Hello, little one. I have some mixed feelings because I'm happy for them because they will find a new home, but I'm also sad because we saw each other day by day for the past months. So I'm really, really sad to see them leaving.
2 litters of puppies will be leaving today. They will be given to the shepherds in pairs, one from each litter to avoid inbreeding, and so they have a familiar companion.
They are also sad now because they are leaving this place, but they will be in their natural habitat, so they will like it. I'm positive about that.
The second litter of puppies is loaded up, and it's time for Yoshka to say a final farewell.
Yeah, sad moment. I don't know what to say. I feel sorry to not seeing them, but I'm positive. That's how it is. They will do what they're supposed to do. Bye, puppies. Salut. It's so quiet without them. I already miss them. So this is in the end, that's the circle of life here in Kobor, because we are expecting more puppies and also donate them. So I know that we will have other ones.
In a remote valley in the heart of the Fagarash Mountains, the Conservation Carpathia Bison Rewilding Team are attempting to locate a herd of 9 bison, released from their enclosure just 2 months ago. If they can pick up a good signal from the radio collar, they may have a chance to locate the herd.
Occasionally, it's necessary to go and see them. It's important to know if all the group is there or to see they are healthy. I hope to have luck with this.
It was hard enough locating the bison in their enclosure. Now the animals are free to roam a potential area of hundreds of square kilometers.
Right now, they're after this hill. After we're walking for a while, we can see how far they are. We know the direction where they are, but we cannot appreciate the distance. A few kilometers, 5 kilometers and more, on straight line. But we need to go on the road. Not so easy, like it seems.
One of the main issues in reintroducing the bison is finding the proper bisons because of the genetics. That's why the bison are coming from around the world, and the costs are high, the cost of the transportations and tranquilization and medical treatments and things like that. That's why we have 12 rangers who permanently they are going after them, monitor them, and it's very important to try to keep them alive, and till they find the free way of living, maybe they will need some support from us.
The team pause their ascent. A distant sound has caught their attention.
It's possible to be gunshot. It's far, but it's also possible to be something to make noise against bears. I hope it's not a gunshot.
Whilst out foraging in the forest, villagers sometimes use auditory scaring devices to keep large carnivores at bay. But there's always the possibility that illegal hunters are operating in these protected forests. The team will need to stay on their guard. At an altitude of around 1,500 metres, the coniferous forest opens up into alpine pastureland, an ideal feeding ground for the herd.
Here we have first footprints of the bison. So we are closer.
Confirmation from the receiver pinpoints the herd's location in a pine forest just below the group.
Yes, the wind is in that direction, and it's possible they smell us. We'll try to find a way to go under them. We'll see.
To try and minimise the chance of detection, two of the team attempt to approach the bison from the forest, well downwind of the herd. As well as an excellent sense of smell, bison possess keen hearing. The ranger's approach will need to be stealthy in order to prevent them spooking the herd.
We found the bison. They are right in front of us. It's very important. Don't make any noise.
Adrian is keen to get a head count of the bison to check all group members are present and correct.
I see 8, but they need to be 9. Perhaps one of them is hiding. Yeah, it's difficult.
One of the bison definitely isn't hiding. The big alpha male of the herd.
Weighs over 800 kilos, but can go a ton. If you keep the distance, it's safe, but if you go closer, it's possible to attack.
But as is invariably the case, the timid bison beat a retreat, slowly making their way out of the forest.
They became nervous.
The whereabouts of bison number 9 remains unknown.
Usually the bison don't have natural predators. Bears can attack, but it's are very rare cases with bear attacks.
The rangers leave the forest, hoping that the missing bison hasn't met an unfortunate end.
It's possible the bison come in an open area. So we go there and try to see more.
As they approach, the herd cautiously makes its way out of the forest to feed.
Now they are in an open area and it's easy to see how many there are. For the moment I see only 8. One male is missing.
As the herd settles, the rangers manage to get a full head count.
Good news, all of them are 9. The last one is behind.
It's a relief to find the herd complete. In such early days of this rewilding program, with only 150 or so bison in the wild, every animal is precious.
We find the bison. All the group are there. So, mission complete.
With the bison in apparent good shape, the team can leave the herd to roam the Carpathian wilds until their next monitoring trip in a couple of weeks' time. The enchanting beauty of the Carpathians is one of Europe's best kept secrets. However, its verdant slopes are no longer just the domain of wandering shepherds. An ever-increasing number of visitors are being drawn to Carpathia's exquisite natural landscapes. At the Salvarea estate, they take pride in the wealth of nature on their doorstep, and tourism has been a key part of their conservation journey.
The whole property, the whole estate, everything needs to be one way or the other somehow sustainable. Tourism helps it. If we wouldn't do this, maybe the only way would be, as all the other forest owners do, cut the tree, sell the log and replant. Tourism is the way forward for big parts of the country, and it's not being used. And this can be the way forward for parts of the forests, definitely. I think this is what motivates us the most, to show that this can be a way forward. And the impact it will have on nature here in general. Guests walk up into the forests and continuously see wild boars, bears, wolf tracks.
Salvarea have taken things a step further and constructed a purpose-built subterranean photography hide, allowing their guests a unique bear's eye perspective. Ecotourism, and especially wildlife watching, are attractions that are really on the up here in Romania. With over 6 million hectares of forest to explore, there are endless opportunities. Today, a group of Italian tourists are out on a Carpathian bear watching experience. And there's nothing quite like getting that initial glimpse of your first wild bear.
It was a wonderful experience. We have seen many bears, male and females, very close to us, so very good. We love it.
It was a very great experience and more than I expected. And I suggest this experience to other people. It was wonderful.
What do you think about this experience?
It's marvelous.
The key thing is, for me, I think, children. This is the future. That these are the ones one should convince. But I think it's the younger generation which needs to see projects like this and ideas like this. Maybe our approach is not 100% right, but maybe it gives them the idea that, you know, trying something new makes a difference.
In the rolling Cobor countryside, Joshka is taking an evening trip out into the grazing pastures.
So we are meeting the shepherds. We have two guys, Szilard and Levente, and there is always someone with the cows, day and night, non-stop, because you never know what can happen. The forest is very near, so it's a possibility that a bear might visit the cows.
Hello, ce faceți? Ce faci, Goran? Ce faci?
This is Kyopo and this is Goran, so this is the father of all of the puppies, and he's the leader of the Carpathian shepherd dogs at our place, and they're very, very friendly.
Joshka is here to see the dogs in action. Every evening, they help the shepherds escort a herd of Hungarian grey cattle back to their enclosure for the night.
These dogs are doing what they're supposed to do, what they were doing for the past hundreds of years. So actually they are in their natural habitat, as you can see them. Now they start to move and to gather the herd. So you can see the ones with the black chest. Those are the bulls, and we have one alpha bull, so the leader of the herd. Ce faci, Goran? Gata, bravo, bravo. So they finished their job for today.
But the eagle-eyed Goran has spotted a straggler that has been separated from the herd. The dogs spring into action.
If one is left behind, the dogs will rush her back to the herd because, I don't know, in the bushes maybe a bear can attack them or some other wild animal. They were just noisy to scare, to shock the cow a little bit to rush back to the herd. So it's some kind of tactic, and it's really, really smart. Let's say if a cow is taken by a bear, maybe the shepherd will take revenge on it. So maybe he will try to kill the bear. So that's how a shepherd dog is actually also protecting the wild animals, because they are keeping the wild animals away from the herd. So that's how both of the parts are protected, the wild ones and the cattle.
Beneath the looming ramparts of the Rock of the Prince, the Conservation Carpathia Habitat Restoration Team are readying the saplings for planting.
Now is the narrow window of time when the replanting of high-altitude, deforested areas can take place. A period when the autumn sun is less intense during the day, but before the heavy night frosts arrive.
În fiecare zi scoatem aproximativ 12-13.000 de puieți de molid. Până momentan avem scoși în jur de 43.000 și preconizez că o să scoatem cel puțin încă atât. Deci undeva la 70-80.000 de puieți pe campania de toamnă de împădurire. Suntem foarte presați de timp, mai ales faptul că șantierele de împădurire se află la limita golului alpin. Depindem foarte mult de vreme. În cazul în care sus la 1600 îngheață terenul, noi nu mai putem planta. Da, mi-e milă să le dau, să le trimit mai departe, le-aș mai ține. Sunt bucuros să știu că o zonă în care s-a tăiat abuziv, s-a defrișat, tăieri ilegale, putem să refacem biotopurile și ecosistemele stricate de alții.
Once the saplings are out of the ground, the race against time begins. A tractor will continuously transport load after load of saplings to the planting site, some 24 kilometres up a rutted forestry track. A track built originally to enable the felling of this once pristine forest. On the slopes, 1,600 metres up, the tree planting team are hard at work.
So I think it's a big day because we are back in business. We are back again in these 300 hectares that were clear-cut illegally more than 10, 12 years ago. I think that we will bring the forest back here.
Donating the saplings for this autumn's campaign is Romanian musician and DJ Nico de Transylvania.
I'm here to plant trees. Plant a lot of trees, I hope. I hope this autumn that we're going to plant 30,000 trees, that's the idea. I launched a charity called Forests Without Frontiers about 2.5 years ago after I produced my debut album, B1, and I donated all the money from my album to plant trees. This is our 7th plantation with Forests Without Frontiers, but our 5th plantation in the Făgăraș Mountains, which will bring us nearly 200,000 trees by the end of the year.
Plantăm puieți, brad, molid, plantăm să facă mare. Pădure mare, să fie ursul, în pădure aici, lupii, la pădure să facă mare ca acolo.
We did destroy the nature and the ecosystem in this place, and we should contribute to bring the nature back. That will take more than 50 years. And of course, from the trees' point of view, 50 years is nothing. So I hope that my son and our children will enjoy this forest in the future.
I can't wait to come back, in a few years and to see these trees growing and to see the actual forest. That would be such an amazing feeling.
We're living here at the foot of the mountains. It's just a privilege, I think. And just thinking that these incredible forests could disappear or are on the verge of disappearing is enough motivation to get up and fight it. And I strongly believe that the protection of the forests will have actually more benefit for the people and for society than the destruction in the long term.
Every day we have the chance to save a tree or a forest, a small one or a big one. This is, I think, the most important thing and is bringing so much joy.
I'm very optimistic about these mountains, and that drives me to get up in the morning because I believe in it. I strongly believe in it. But we also know that it takes time. It's not something that you can do overnight. It might even take a generation until people realize that conservation is not a threat to them, but conservation is actually an opportunity.
A fi undeva într-o zonă ca a noastră e o oază de liniște. Zona este inima mea, pentru că am rămas aici cu drag și voi rămâne aici cu drag.
I'm incredibly fortunate to live in such a beautiful landscape with my family. I've got 2 young children. They thrive in this landscape. I wouldn't want to be anywhere else apart from the Romanian Carpathians at the moment. There is a very strong element of conservation in Romania that's actually securing the rich biodiversity that we have. We feel we may have lost a lot of the biodiversity from Europe. It's possible to restore that biodiversity in time.
I feel that there is hope, and I think that's really important, is to not lose hope.